5 years into our marriage, Marcus remained cold and indifferent towards me. On our anniversary, he brought his childhood friend, Chloe, who had lost both parents, home. He instructed me to take good care of her. I looked at Chloe, who was several years older than me, and felt a profound sense of irony. Calmly, I said to him, "Marcus, let's get a divorce." A heavy silence fell. The words of divorce, once uttered, hung in the air. Marcus, who had just casually taken off his jacket, paused, then a frown creased his refined face. "What did you say?" I said, "Let's get a divorce, Marcus." "Grace, are you out of your mind?" I ignored him. I simply turned to carry the dishes from the dining table. It was an elaborate dinner I had spent the entire evening preparing, originally waiting for Marcus to come home from work so we could celebrate our 5th wedding anniversary together. Now, plate after plate, they went into the trash can, as if all the love I had for him over the years was being poured away with them. He came to his senses. Standing between the dining room and the kitchen, he tried to stop me. "We haven't had dinner yet." Chloe, his childhood friend, who had been standing by, finally seized the opportunity to speak. She said to me, "That's right, Grace. Marcus rushed all the way here to pick me up. He hasn't eaten in 10 hours. He must be starving." I watched them, blocking my way from left and right, clearly not taking my words about divorce seriously. I still ignored them, carrying the casserole dish and continuing towards the kitchen. Chloe stepped forward to grab it. Every word from her mouth was filled with concern for Marcus. "The dishes are all gone, Marcus has to have the soup." Her movements were clumsy. With a clang, the casserole dish slipped from my hands. The still warm soup splashed onto her hand. She cried out in pain. Marcus abruptly shoved me aside, anxiously pulling her hand closer to examine it. "Are you burned?" Chloe, on the verge of tears, shook her head, enduring the pain. "I'm fine." "It's all red, how can you be fine? You already have an old injury here. I'm taking you to the hospital." I was pushed back, my spine hitting the dining table. A sharp, piercing pain shot through my lower back, leaving me speechless. Tears welled up in my eyes from the pain. Looking at Marcus, who had been so cold and indifferent to me for 5 years, barely showing any emotion, now so utterly distressed about his childhood friend, I suddenly felt a profound sense of irony. It turned out he wasn't an emotionless mannequin after all. He just had no emotions for me. Marcus picked up the jacket he had just taken off and walked out the door, pulling Chloe by the hand. He didn't spare me a single glance from beginning to end. Nor did he notice that compared to Chloe's minor injury on her hand, my foot had been directly hit by the casserole dish and was far more severely hurt. As reached the doorway, she looked back at me and, thinking she was being considerate, reassured me, "Grace, I don't blame you." Marcus was already outside, urging her to hurry. Finally, his eyes flickered to me, and he snapped impatiently, "You still have the nerve to cry? Chloe just said she doesn't blame you." The front door slammed shut. I looked at the mess on the floor, unable to move. The excruciating pain in my lower back slowly receded, only for the throbbing in my foot to seize my heart. The pain was so intense I felt like I was being torn apart. Tears streamed down my cheeks, blurring whether I was crying from physical pain or from sheer sadness. After a long time, I finally recovered my composure. Outside the window, raindrops fell, tapping against the windowpane with a drumming sound, making the newly arrived winter weather bitterly cold. I tended to the injury on my foot, then went to the study and printed out the divorce agreement. Many of the house and car, assets, and other properties were my premarital assets. I wouldn't give him a single penny of those. The house we currently lived in was a new purchase from 2 years ago, falling under marital assets, and I intended to claim half of it. As for a child, I touched my flat stomach. I had been pregnant once 4 years ago, but due to my busy work schedule, I had an accidental miscarriage. At the time, Marcus had gently reassured me, "We're still young, we'll have children eventually." Later, I quit my job, wanting to actively try to conceive. Yet, he remained perpetually evasive and lukewarm about the matter. For years passed, and we still had no children. Even as I waited for him to come home for dinner today, I was still fantasizing about how wonderful it would be if we had a child. Now, I was grateful there wasn't one. I had just finished printing and signing the divorce agreement when I heard the front door open. Chloe gasped, "Why hasn't the floor been cleaned up yet?" The mess was still exactly as I had left it. And with the cold weather, the soup and its remnants were probably congealed, making it visually quite disgusting. Chloe's judgmental words clearly reached my ears. "How can Grace be so lazy? Even if she comes from a good family, if a woman doesn't do these chores, is she expecting you, a man, to do them?" Never mind, I'll clean it up. Chloe, don't move, your hand is injured. I'll ask where Grace is. The phone on the desk suddenly rang, echoing through the house. Before I could stand up from the study chair, Marcus walked in, his mouth opening with an immediate accusation. Why haven't you cleaned up that mess at home? Chloe also came to the edge of the study, chiming in, that's right, Grace, you really are too spoiled. I didn't say anything. I just looked at Marcus blankly, as if I had never known him. I met him when I was in college. Even then, he was already spoken of by my relatives as an outstanding doctor, refined, gentlemanly, ambitious, and diligent. I was instantly captivated. Learning he didn't have a girlfriend, I proactively pursued him. Though he was generally reserved, he rarely declined my invitations. After years of back and forth, I finally went from being just a friend to his girlfriend, and eventually, I married him as I had wished. I always believed that after marriage, we could make our life flourish, that the aloof Dr. Marcus in public could be a passionate Marcus in private. But 5 years passed, and he never changed. I brought significant premarital assets, house and car, to a man who had little to his name. After we married, I handled everything in our home by myself. I thought of all my contributions to him over the years, from our first sight to my persistent pursuit. We had walked this path for 10 years. Looking back, it felt like it was all my one-sided affection. Never mind. This is where it ends. Seeing that I didn't reply, Marcus lost his patience. Grace, I'm talking to you. I got up, walked around the study desk, and pointed to the divorce agreement on it. Marcus, sign this. He stood rooted, not moving, only asking what it was. Divorce agreement. Chloe gasped, Grace, it's so late, please don't argue with Marcus, okay? I'm not arguing. I took the opportunity to push Chloe, who was blocking my way, aside and walked out of the study. Marcus's angry voice came from inside the study, why? I stopped. Looking at the mess on the dining room floor, I casually offered a reason. Because my casserole dish broke, I guess. Grace, are you out of your mind? Marcus walked out of the study, throwing the divorce agreement at my face. Marriage is no trivial matter. Neither is divorce. Don't forget what you said when we decided to get married. I hadn't forgotten. I remembered it very clearly. I said I could understand his busy professional life. It was okay, I would always support him. We would spend our lives together. But was he truly busy with work now? The paper grazed my cheek, stinging a little. The house was utterly silent. Slowly, I knelt down and picked up the fallen papers. He was about to continue scolding me when his throat suddenly caught. His voice softened a few shades. What's wrong with your foot? I glanced at my injured foot. The swelling where the casserole dish had hit had subsided somewhat, but it was still very noticeable. If it had been before tonight, such gentle concern from him would have made me incredibly happy. I would have put aside all the unpleasantness. After all, my demands of him had always been simple. But now, none of it mattered. I ignored his concern. I simply extended the divorce agreement to him once more, my eyes earnestly fixed on his. Clearly, word by word, I stated my decision again, Marcus, I'm not playing games. A silence spread between us. Under the light, his features were distinct, refined and handsome. He took off his glasses and pinched the bridge of his nose. Just because of a casserole dish? Yes. I think you've really lost your mind. He put his glasses back on, then ran a frustrated hand through his hair. In all these years, this was the most progression of emotions I had ever seen on his face. Then assume I've lost my mind. The atmosphere became awkward. Chloe interjected opportunely from the side, it's just a casserole dish, I'll buy you another one tomorrow as compensation. Grace, marriage is a sacred thing. Don't be like some common shrew, casually throwing around the word divorce. Marcus is so outstanding, if he divorces, people will be lining up for him. If you divorce, will you be able to find someone this good? I simply said, oh. I'm divorcing to end this marriage, not to find the next person. Anyway, it's just about a casserole dish, isn't it? I'll order one right now, okay? Chloe seemed to not understand. She opened an online shopping site and then nudged Marcus, don't just stand there, you place the order yourself, as a show of sincerity. Marcus didn't move. By what? She's just making trouble for no reason. It's not like there's only one pot in the house. Never mind all this for now, you've had a long day. I'll take you to the guest room to rest first. With that, he walked directly towards the spare bedroom. You'll sleep in this room from now on. Okay, but won't it be too much trouble for you? Chloe, do we still need to talk like that between us? He feigned annoyance, glaring at Chloe for a moment. Alright, you go rest. I'll talk to her. Their attitude, completely disregarding me, infuriated me. I picked up a vase and smashed it at their feet. I looked at Marcus coldly. I never agreed to let Chloe stay here. Grace, how many times are you going to act like this today? If you're not done acting out, let's go back to our room. Chloe is already very tired. His concern for her was sincere, making me feel even more like a joke. I suddenly remembered a few years ago, when I was tidying up old belongings at his hometown. I had seen a notebook he had written. Between the lines, it was clear that he, too, had once experienced a first crush, a heart deeply touched. That girl was Chloe, his childhood friend, and his first love. They just never ended up together due to various circumstances. Because of this, I hadn't taken it too seriously. But this scene now felt like a bullet from years ago, striking my heart, leaving me in agonizing pain. Chloe's mother had passed away a few days ago. She had also lost her job of many years. Marcus had mentioned it vaguely to me. I had responded indifferently, that doesn't have much to do with you, your old neighbor, does it? Marcus, holding a soup bowl, gave me a fleeting, indifferent glance but said nothing. So, he had planned this all along? 2 years ago, Chloe had stayed at our house for 2 nights while on a business trip here. Although she was very polite, based on female intuition, I still didn't like her staying in my home. While cleaning the guest room, I accidentally broke a small ceramic keepsake of hers. Her reaction was so extreme it was as if I had stabbed her. She hugged the broken keepsake, crying as if utterly devastated. Only then did I learn it was a memento from her father. She furiously accused me of doing it on purpose, claiming I had retaliated against her because I didn't want her to stay for 2 nights. Because of this incident, Marcus and I gave each other the silent treatment for a long time. Eventually, I offered apologies and compensation to move past it. I had said back then that to avoid such unpleasantness again, no outsiders should stay in our house. He had agreed. Had he just forgotten that in 2 years? I took a deep breath, suppressing my sorrow. No more talking. You sign the papers, then get out of here. The atmosphere became rigid again. Chloe, holding her suitcase, had red-rimmed eyes, and tears almost instantly welled up. Marcus, maybe I should just stay in a hotel. She said this, but made no move to leave. Marcus directly picked up her suitcase and opened the spare bedroom door. You'll stay right here. I said no. Marcus, this is my house. My voice became sharp. The harsh truth made the atmosphere even more awkward. Marcus's face darkened. His gaze drilled through me as if he wanted to cut me down. I straightened my back, looking directly into his eyes, repeating my words. Marcus, this is my house, and what I say goes. Grace, this is my house. The cutting words still came from Marcus's mouth. His indifference was palpable even through his glasses. I bought it with my own money. The color drained from my face. I never imagined that for Chloe, he would be so absolute with his words. Anger surged through my brain. I didn't back down an inch. What do you mean, your money? It's our marital assets. Even if we go to court, half of this belongs to me. We had known each other for 10 years, married for 5. This was the first time we had such a fierce argument. Chloe tugged on Marcus's sleeve. Marcus, stop fighting. I'm just an outsider, I should go stay in a hotel. Before she finished speaking, she was already choked with grievance, moving to leave with her suitcase. Marcus forcefully pressed down on the suitcase, his stance firm. I said you're staying here from now on. But, no buts. You've lost both parents and your job. Who else can you rely on besides me? Marcus spoke to Chloe, but his eyes were fixed on me, as if he thought this would make me soften and compromise. I blinked, desperately forcing back the tears that threatened to fall. Marcus, are you saying you want me to leave, then? My heart ached with a constant stinging pain, like being pricked repeatedly by fine needles. Marcus met my gaze, his attitude just as resolute. Chloe must stay. Fine, I'll leave. You signed the papers. I clutched the divorce agreement, demanding an answer. He took it, then ripped it in half, scattering the torn pieces into the air. Grace, that's enough. I watched the scattered pieces of paper flutter through the air. I could no longer hold back my tears, and they streamed down my cheeks. I turned and walked away. Behind me, I heard Chloe's worried reminder, Marcus, it's raining outside, and it's cold. You should go stop Grace. No need, she'll come back by herself in a bit. The elevator doors gently closed. I looked at the open door of my home, feeling it was so unfamiliar for the very first time. I did not go back as Marcus had expected. The next day, I directly contacted a divorce lawyer. I consulted about the divorce. There wasn't a large amount in terms of asset division. Although it was accomplished, in a major metropolitan area, the money he earned was only enough to afford a house and pay its mortgage. The lawyer clearly stated that regarding our marital assets, I was entitled to half. I chose to have the lawyer file a lawsuit directly. On the third day, I went home to pack my belongings, just as Chloe was busy cooking for Marcus. 2 local specialties from their hometown were already laid out on the table. Chloe was wearing my apron and oven mitts, complaining about the inconvenience. Marcus smiled and fed her. It was a warm and cozy scene, as if they were the couple. My sudden appearance made me the one who didn't fit in. What was even more ridiculous was that I had cooked for Marcus for so many years, yet he had never been so intimate with me. Chloe froze for a moment, but quickly recovered. She smiled and said to me, "Grace, you're back. Just a moment, the dishes will be ready soon." Marcus glanced at me, his usual cold and indifferent demeanor returning. "Go wash your hands first." I ignored them. I pulled my suitcase directly from the closet and went back to the room to pack. Aside from important items, I temporarily didn't pack bulky clothes. Marcus followed me in, watching my actions, his brows tightly furrowed. "Grace, are you still not done causing trouble?" Suddenly, Chloe's cry of pain came from the kitchen. Marcus spun around and rushed over. I efficiently finished packing, zipped up my suitcase, then walked to the entryway to look for my car keys. I couldn't find them after a long search. Remembering that Marcus usually drove the car, I asked him directly, "Where are the car keys?" At that moment, Marcus was disinfecting a small cut on Chloe's hand. That tiny scratch was being treated as if it were a major laceration. I thought about how, after marrying him, I had learned to cook from scratch, and in the beginning, I often cut my hands. But he would only bring back some disinfectant and band-aids. At most, he'd add, "If it's serious, go to the urgent care clinic to get it bandaged. Don't let the wound get infected." He was a doctor, yet he rarely treated my minor injuries. I used to think he was just accustomed to major injuries, which was why he remained unfazed by small ones. It seemed I had been wrong again. Too lazy to watch their childhood sweethearts act any longer, I asked again about the car keys. Chloe gasped, looking at me. "They're with me. I drove the car to go grocery shopping this morning." She told Marcus to check her pocket. I watched with cold eyes. After snatching the keys from his hand, I finally spoke. "Marcus, I've already hired a divorce lawyer. You'll soon receive a court summons. Also, I've consulted with the lawyer. This house is our marital asset, and I'm taking half." I pulled my suitcase and walked towards the door. The rolling sound of the suitcase was somewhat grating, but it was nothing compared to Chloe's shrill voice. She defended Marcus, a pained expression on her face. "Grace, Marcus only has this one house." I scoffed. "I am his legal wife, I know better than you. Marcus, if you want the house, raise the money and give it to me. If not, then sell the house, and we'll split it equally." Sitting on the sofa, Marcus's face turned pale, then green, then pale again. He looked up at me, his gaze showing extreme disappointment. "Grace, what do you mean? Haven't I made it clear enough? Divorce, asset division." Chloe screamed in anger from the side. "Then why aren't you dividing your assets?" "Grace, you're being too much. Why would I divide my premarital assets?" "What premarital, what marital? You're a married couple, what's yours is Marcus's too." I couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with them anymore, so I opened the door and left. As the elevator doors were about to close, Marcus chased after me, pressing the control button to keep them open. "Grace, let's talk. There's nothing left to discuss." The moment he was so convinced I would compromise, any need for further conversation had vanished. "I don't want our affairs to end up in court." "Fine, then transfer the money to my account, and we'll go to the registry office to finalize the paperwork." "Grace, are you really going to take it this far, just because of a casserole dish?" "Yes, just for a casserole dish, I'm taking it this far." I looked into his eyes calmly. It was truly laughable. Even at this point, he genuinely believed I was doing all this just for a casserole dish. As if he truly didn't understand that hearts don't grow cold overnight, and feelings don't die in a single day. "I won't divorce you." He looked at me gravely, reiterating word by word, "Grace, I won't divorce you." I scoffed lightly. "Then wait for the court summons." The first time, the court rejected the divorce petition. Marcus came to me, asking for another chance, saying that Chloe had already moved out. I listened to his belated apology with a blank expression. Outside, bare branches mottled the sky. The winter sun was warm to the point of being dazzling. I thought of the night I left. A cold winter night, pouring rain. What had he said? No need to chase her, she'll come back on her own. But, I wouldn't be coming back. Grace? Marcus, whose mouth was dry from talking, only after a long moment realized I had been lost in thought. I gave him a faint sideways glance. Marcus, do you think I would love you forever? Unconditionally, no matter what you did to me, is that it? He paused. Grace, marriage is no trivial matter. I haven't betrayed you, and I've always been faithful. We have so many years of shared history. You've been faithful? I laughed, as if I had heard the funniest joke of the year. How you treat Chloe, and you call that being faithful? Chloe's parents were like second parents to me. I treat Chloe like my own sister. He argued excitedly, accusing me of having a filthy mind, like a rat in a sewer. I didn't care that we were in a coffee shop. I picked up the coffee in front of me and splashed it on him. Marcus, have you forgotten the girl under the pear tree, from that journal in your hometown? My jab at his past made Marcus's face darken. After a moment, he picked up a napkin nearby and gently wiped the coffee stain. Grace, this is a baseless accusation. I have never truly betrayed you. This is even more disgusting than betrayal. I stood up, looking down at him. Marcus, Beeson. Sybil, raise the money quickly, and sign the divorce papers. Let's part amicably. Otherwise, prepare for me to refile for divorce. I don't mind loving dramatically, or divorcing dramatically. Chloe, who had rushed over, frantically pulled out wet wipes from her bag. While wiping, she scolded me, Grace, look at yourself. Do you have any dignity left? What has Marcus ever done wrong to you? Has he ever hit you or cursed at you? He's just grateful for my family's kindness to him, and seeing me lose both parents and my job, he reached out to help. What's wrong with that? As if the commotion wasn't big enough, she deliberately raised her voice, making sure the surrounding coffee shop patrons could hear more clearly. All these years of marriage, you quit your job. Marcus has been the sole provider. He works tirelessly from morning till night. Do you ever care how tired he is? You, a spoiled city folk, wouldn't understand the strong community ties in small towns. But you can't turn around and accuse me either. Marcus and I are innocent. We can't endure your insults and slander. As she spoke, she suddenly pulled out a small knife from her bag and slashed her wrist. If you don't believe me, I can prove my innocence with death. Blood instantly gushed out. Gasps erupted throughout the coffee shop. I stood rooted, stunned. Marcus rushed to stop Chloe's bleeding, but looked at me with a slightly manic gaze. Do you believe me now, Grace? If you don't believe me, I can hurt myself again. With that, she raised her hand to harm herself again. Marcus snatched the knife away from her. Chloe, don't do this. Marcus, I need to prove that we're innocent. Otherwise, everyone will accuse you, and I can't let Grace ruin you. Blood flowed onto the floor, staining Chloe's white dress and the tabletop, splashing onto the ground and mixing with the coffee. She looked at me, agitated and extreme. Grace, is this enough? I couldn't speak. Marcus yelled at the coffee shop staff, Ring a first aid kit quickly. The coffee shop patrons gradually dispersed. Chloe's emotions slowly stabilized. Marcus went to the restroom to wash the blood from his hands. Looking at her temporarily bandaged wound, Chloe softly spoke. Grace, you lost. I looked at her with a blank expression. But you're going to lose even more completely. She suddenly slammed her head against the table. Marcus, who had just come out of the restroom, rushed over, desperately trying to stop her. Chloe, don't do this. Marcus, Grace said if I really proved we had no relationship, I should kowtow to her. Chloe raised her tear-stained face. I just don't want you to be wrongly accused or misunderstood. Her melodramatic performance, I thought someone as intelligent as Marcus would see right through it. Yet, he believed her. He helped Chloe up and left without a backward glance. Just like every other time, whenever there was a conflict between Chloe and me, he never chose me, his wife. He always chose his childhood friend. Chloe, however, turned her head slightly, a faint smirk playing on her lips. That evening, the video from the coffee shop was posted online. Initially, people were manipulated, calling me petty and saying I didn't deserve Marcus. Then my friend stepped in, compiling our past with Marcus into a post. The tide of public opinion completely reversed. All the comments that had been attacking me turned into attacks on Chloe. So, another manipulative woman, using the guise of a childhood friend to do despicable deeds. No blood relation, don't insult the word sister by calling her that. While the internet was in a heated debate, Marcus's phone call came through. His words were filled with accusations. Grace, is this what you find interesting? Why are you dragging Chloe into our affairs? Do you know that what you've done has caused her condition to relapse? She suffered enough blows these past 2 or 3 years. losing both parents, becoming an orphan. She's struggling with her mental health, do you know that? Are you trying to drive her to her death? He directly placed the groundless blame on me, implying everything was my fault. Marcus, I don't know what you're talking about. If you want to go crazy, find someone else. Don't pretend. Wasn't that video posted by you? You want a divorce, right? Fine, declare in the video that you intentionally caused all this. His ridiculous logic actually made me laugh. But I absolutely wouldn't take the blame for this. Marcus, I didn't post the video. If not you, then who? Your friends are manipulating public opinion in the comments. Don't think I can't see that. I said it wasn't me, nor my friends. Believe it or not. Or why don't you ask your good childhood friend if she posted it? The answer was clearly obvious, but immediately denied it, claiming it was impossible. He also said that Chloe was incredibly remorseful because of the video, and her condition had relapsed, making her emotionally unstable, even showing signs of self-harm, all to prove her innocence. I scoffed lightly. Does threatening self-harm make you seem innocent? Then, you'll be disappointed, because I will never stoop to such tactics. As for Chloe, whether she lives or dies doesn't concern me. If she wants to die, let her. Grace, how can you be so heartless? Take down the video, and I agree to go with you to the registry office for the divorce. I told you I didn't post the video. Fine, then you can forget about getting a divorce. Marcus angrily hung up the phone. I clicked on the video again, only to find it had been taken down. Shortly after, Marcus sent a text message, "You've disappointed me too much, Grace." You're the one who disappointed me, Marcus. You can wait for me to refile for divorce. He didn't get to decide whether this marriage would end or not. I immediately called my lawyer to prepare for the refiling. The lawyer said that refiling required a waiting period. If and I true. LY couldn't reach a private settlement, we would refile once the time was right. He also reminded me that I could check Marcus's credit report for any outstanding debts, to find some leverage. I thought of Chloe's earlier mention of Marcus's help. Looking at Marcus, it seemed unlikely he'd only offered verbal assistance. The next day, I went home. After searching the study, I found Marcus's printed credit report. It showed several transfers, totaling nearly 500,000 yuan, all to Chloe. What was even more ridiculous was that this 500,000 yuan was money he had charged across several credit cards. I clutched the credit report, a burst of anger rushing to my head. The front door suddenly opened. Chloe's whimpering voice drifted in. Marcus, I'm so scared. I don't want to come to your house and bother you again. Maybe I should just leave, or Grace will misunderstand even more. Never mind all that for now, your health is more important. I walked out of the study, holding the credit report. I took out my phone and captured a picture of Marcus supporting Chloe. Both of them were taken aback. Marcus frowned, glaring at me with a cold gaze. Grace, what are you doing? Taking photos of you two conspiring together. I shook my phone. If I send pictures like this to your hospital, what do you think the consequences will be? Marcus gently pushed Chloe away and walked towards me. Have you had enough? Give me your phone. And what about this credit report? His expression finally shifted slightly. Marcus, you intermittently charged 500,000 yuan to credit cards and transferred it to Chloe. How do you explain that? I lent it to Chloe for an emergency. She lost her job, and her house was facing foreclosure. She had lost everything, she couldn't lose her house too. He argued fiercely, looking utterly serious, as if he truly was just helping out. Yet, for the divorce, when I wanted my rightful half, he revealed such an ugly and greedy demeanor. I waived the credit report. In that case, I'll let the netizens and your hospital superiors judge this for themselves. His face instantly changed, as if I had suddenly hit his weak spot. You still claim you didn't post the video online last time? Stop fighting. Chloe suddenly covered her ears, bursting into tears. It's all my fault. I'll leave, can't I just leave? She rushed towards the door. Marcus quickly grabbed her wrist, his gaze suddenly drilling through me. Did you really have to escalate things to this point? What scene did I make? I just want a normal divorce. Releasing that video, humiliating me completely, trying to ruin me. Grace, do you hate me that much? I'll reiterate, I didn't release the video. But he wasn't listening at all. Fine, then let's get divorced. We'll go to the registry office tomorrow to file. All the commotion instantly ceased. Not even Chloe, who had been feigning innocence and playing the victim, made a sound. I took a deep breath and nodded indifferently. Fine, remember to get the money ready. No need to get it ready, we'll just sell the house. Chloe gasped. She tugged at Marcus's hand. Marcus, this is your only house. If you sell it, when will you be able to afford another one? That doesn't matter. I walked past them and entered the elevator. During the mandatory waiting period for divorce, the house was listed with a real estate agent. Because of its good location and the urgency to sell, the asking price was slightly below market value. A buyer was quickly found. Marcus asked me to meet him to sign the papers. He also said he wanted to see our home together one last time. I refused. I just wanted to sign the house sale contract immediately. 2 days prior, I had already moved my belongings out of the house, without a trace of lingering affection. Those items that had borne witness to my deep love for Marcus were all swept into the trash can. I swiftly signed my name. Marcus, however, hesitated somewhat. His gaze lingered on me, as if he had something to say but stopped himself. I calmly reminded him, tomorrow is the last day of the mandatory waiting period for divorce. Remember to be at the registry office on time. He pressed his lips together, then signed his name. The next day, I arrived at the registry office on time. Marcus, however, had arrived early. He looked at me, repeatedly seeming to have something to say but holding back. Even before we entered the registry office, he was still asking me, Grace, are you sure you want to go through with this divorce? I adjusted my coat. A late spring chill had settled in these past few days, making it as cold as winter. Stop wasting time, Marcus. Let's just sign the papers. The tenderness I once felt for him was now replaced by an equal amount of disgust. I walked past him and entered first. We were the first couple with an appointment. While processing the paperwork, Marcus hesitated again. The pen in his hand hovered, slow to put to paper. I didn't know what was going through his mind. His brows furrowed, then relaxed. When he finally signed, he did so with such force he almost tore through the paper. The formalities were quickly completed. Holding my divorce certificate, I walked out of the registry office. Before I got into my car, Marcus asked if I could give him a ride. I looked at him. It felt like going back 10 years. When we first met, he had asked just as politely, Miss, would you mind giving me a ride? Is it on your way? I beamed back, it's on my way. Even if it wasn't, I'd have made it so. Happiness is something you have to fight for yourself. 10 years later, today, I rejected him bluntly, no, it's not. Because he was no longer my happiness. Marcus froze there. Before leaving, I also sent him a file, kindly informing him of the truth. Marcus, Chloe was the one who posted that video online. I could have sent him the evidence before the divorce. The reason I didn't was that I genuinely didn't want to continue our relationship. And I didn't want to see him chasing after me, full of regret. My heart didn't turn cold in a single day. Nor did my love die overnight. We had truly reached the end. As my car reached the traffic light, Marcus's phone kept ringing frantically. He was running, trying to catch up to my car. I swiped to answer. I heard him breathlessly telling me to stop. I pressed the gas pedal, gazing firmly ahead. Marcus, in this lifetime I will never stop for you again. Afterward, a friend told me that Marcus had confronted Chloe. Chloe adamantly denied it at first. Later, Marcus also discovered that her so-called mental illness was fabricated. That's when they had a nasty falling out. Chloe, however, was even more unreasonable than Marcus. I was just very fragile. Marcus, you said you'd take care of me. I just wanted people to judge for themselves with that video. How was I supposed to know it would escalate like that? From beginning to end, she didn't believe she was in the wrong. Nor did she think she was responsible for Marcus's marital breakdown. If you were truly good enough, how could Grace possibly divorce you over something as trivial as me? Marcus, a problem of this magnitude doesn't happen overnight, you know? Later, I heard that after their falling out, Marcus demanded Chloe repay a $500,000 loan. But no formal loan agreement had been written for this money. Chloe simply disappeared. Marcus has already sued her. Who knows how long this nasty dispute between them will play out? My friend gently nudged me, snapping me out of my thoughts. I heard Marcus is renting a place to live, and he's back to taking the subway to and from work. And owing so much money, he's back to square one. No, actually, he's worse off than before. Don't you feel sorry for him? I picked up the coffee in front of me and took a sip. From now on, I don't want to know anything about him. As for him and me, I am myself, and he is himself. Out of sight, out of me. And